wanted to talk to you guys about one of the bigger features that we have in our Winter 26 release, and that is our migration to our REST API for our EDI connections and our migration to JSON format. To start off, this is a big undertaking that we have for this release. EDI is obviously a very integral part to everyone's day-to-day operations, and this is going to be a huge efficiency gain for everyone who does EDI on a day-to-day basis. The biggest reason why we did this is because it's going to be faster and it removes a lot of the EDI run frequency bottlenecks that a lot of people have been running into when they're using our current state EDI. We no longer call out to our EDI partners. They actually call into us. And that actually helps out with our efficiency gains because they can set those run times and make sure that they're sending out as frequently as possible, which they have better functionality on being able to do that more frequently than we do within the Revenova environment. They can manage it on a per client basis on their side of things, so you guys can work with your vans to actually set that up within the van. We also have better validation and logging, which I'll show you a little bit more of what that means later in my presentation here. There's going to be a lot of me talking as opposed to me showing you guys, but we do have a little bit of show and tell at the end of my presentation here. To talk a little bit about the inbound EDI side of things, we actually do not use the EDI job and the EDI run frequency anymore because the van actually decides how often they're going to be pushing the inbound EDI events to us, which is great news for you guys because you can work directly with them to set that up. And then essentially what we do is we can process up to 200 events at a time, and they can send that as many times as they want, as opposed to waiting for our job to run again, pick up another 200 events, and then run it back into our system. So if you're getting something like 600 events at a time, you don't have to wait every 5 minutes or however long you have that EDI run frequency set. They can just start pushing those in, and we'll start processing them as quickly as we possibly can. So it's going to be a huge efficiency gain for anyone who has a high volume of inbound EDI within the system. And then for our outbound EDI, the EDI job is still relevant to some of those outbound events, but we queue them as EDI transactions within the system. And what's great is that we actually can queue 2,000 events at one time. So still great efficiency gains on that side of things. And then we will actually tag those with a success message on an EDI transaction so that you guys can see the success messages that are coming back from your guys' vans that you're working with to see those messages going out successfully to them. And something great that's coming with this as well is that we're going to be logging each one of these EDI transactions within the system. And so there's no need to turn on transaction logging for each individual event. They don't necessarily need to be linked to a specific load. We're going to log every event that comes into the system. We're going to mark it with a success or a failure message. I know one of the big hang-ups about EDI is that error messaging can be a little bit confusing and not user-friendly when it comes to what that error message says. So we've done a really great job of focusing in on what each one of those error messages from EDI means and translating it into a readable way for a user to look at it and really understand what's wrong with either the transaction or the setup for us to properly be able to direct you into what to fix to make that transaction a successful message within the system here. So I can show you kind of how that will work. And I'll show you what our packet replay looks like as well within the system. So this is what a typical EDI transaction might look like. This is a 214 transaction that I've just mocked up within our system here. It'll look something like this. And then we have the status message here. So what's going to happen is when it's created, it's going to be set in that pending status until it's either picked up by, for this example, it's an outbound 214, or it could be an inbound 214. It'll be set in a pending status here, and then we'll mark that with no status log here at all. Then if it's processed successfully, it's either going to be processed as a success here, and it's going to be linked to a specific load, or it's going to be set as a failure here. And then we'll give you a status message on what that error is. You'll be able to make any adjustments within Revenova, or you could work with your van to make an adjustment and resend it back to you guys as well. And one last thing to note on the new upgrades that we have with the EDI is our data cleanup job. Given we're storing all the transactions, and I know that storage is important to so many people, we've added this data cleanup job to help you guys manage your data so you guys can set a specific time frame on when you want those additional transactions to be deleted from the system so you guys aren't taking up too much storage. That's it for the updates that we have in regards to the REST EDI updates. I know the one big question that everyone has on their mind is your current EDI process going away immediately? The answer is no. We can work both of these different types of systems in the current Winter 26 release. One important note, though, is you can only do one or the other. So you have to do all or nothing, REST or SOAP for this update here. So our recommendation is get upgraded as quickly as possible. We'll help you guys with that transition to our new REST EDI service. Work with us. Make sure you're working with your van to get that testing and upgrading done. And we're really excited for this release to help you guys streamline your EDI process.